In a hidden valley beneath a sentient mountain, there lived a peaceful tribe of people known as the Happy Folk. Their days were filled with simple pleasures, tending to their crops, raising their animals, and most importantly, honoring the ancient traditions that had been passed down from their ancestors. The mountain was revered as a living spirit, a great protector, and they called it the Monkey Mountain because its peak resembled the head of a monkey, forever gazing at the sky. Every year they held a festival in its honor, dancing and singing to the rhythm of drums, celebrating the life that flowed from its slopes and the bounty that grew in its shade. But their harmonious existence was about to be shattered, for deep within the mountain's heart, something stirred at the prospect of change, something ancient and powerful. It was the monkey, and it communicated its unease through the dreams of the Happy Folk, cryptic visions of the future that went mostly unnoticed or disregarded. One such vision came to a young girl named Amara, who dreamt of a time when the mountain would weep and the valley would be filled with sorrow. When she shared her dream with the others, they either laughed it off or warned her to be more careful about what she wished for. For their lives had always been good, and they couldn't imagine it being anything else. And so the warnings went unheeded. Then one day a group of strangers arrived in the valley. They called themselves the Strange Folk, and they were unlike anyone the Happy Folk had ever seen before. They were clad in strange garments, and their manner was both charming and disarming. They carried with them devices of polished metal and strange symbols that hummed with an otherworldly energy. Their leader, a man named Cyrus, was a charismatic fellow with a quick smile and an even quicker wit. He and his companions wasted no time in setting up camp and beginning their work. And what work it was! With their advanced technology, they quickly set about mining the mountain's riches, hauling away wagon loads of ore and gems that glittered like captured stars. At first, this caused some unease among the Happy Folk, for it was the first break in their traditions and living memory. But Cyrus and his folk were so genial and prosperous that they soon won over the hearts and minds of the populace. Even Amara, who had been wary of the newcomers, found herself drawn to their infectious enthusiasm. The Monkey Mountain, however, did not take kindly to the intrusion. It rumbled and groaned, sending tremors through the valley and showering the miners with rocks and dirt. But Cyrus simply laughed it off, declaring that a little excitement was good for the workers. And so he erected taller smokestacks and delved deeper into the mountain's belly. Meanwhile, the dreams that once brought Amara joy now filled her with dread. She saw the mountain weeping tears of fire and heard the screams of tormented spirits. She tried to warn the others, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. So she did the only thing she could. She climbed the mountain to seek the wisdom of the elders who lived in its shadow. As she made her way up the winding paths, the ground shook violently beneath her feet. She looked back to see fissures snaking down the mountainside, belching smoke and flame. The entire valley was in chaos. Cyrus and his gang were nowhere to be seen. In their haste to escape, they had dropped their tools, abandoned their camps, and left the once prosperous mining town deserted. Perched atop a boulder, watching the spectacle before her, Amara realized the terrible cost of ignoring ancestral wisdom, of turning one's back on the rhythms of the earth and the whispers of the dead. She also realized that nature is not just a backdrop to our lives, but a living, breathing entity that sustains and challenges us in equal measure. The Monkey Mountain, far from being just a stone giant, was a powerful spirit that had watched over and protected the Happy Folk for generations. Yet they had ignored its warnings and disrespected its sacred slopes until now. As the last vestiges of the valley faded from view, consumed by the encroaching darkness, Amara knew that the task of rebuilding would be long and hard. But she was determined to honor the memory of those lost by learning from their mistakes and carrying on their traditions. The Monkey Mountain might have been wounded, but its spirit remained unbroken. And with the help of the few survivors, it would eventually heal and live on to watch over those who respected and revered it.